Okay, for this part here, okay, nearby attractions, highlights, HOA, all this stuff here. Um, for nearby attractions, I mean, this is very subjective, right? So things that you would be interested in doing, maybe I wouldn't. So what I normally do is we already know, like, here's our property. So we already know, okay, our property's right here, right? So this is Weeki Wachee, Florida. So all I do is, again, I just go back to Google. Weeki, how do you spell that? Yeah, Weeki Wachee, Florida, recreation. That's how you spell it. Oh, looky here. So I just typed in Weeki Wachee, Florida recreation, and we've got Weeki Wachee Spring State Park. Um, RV parks don't really care much about, but this is kind of a big deal. So, you could put that in there. So you could put in, hey, look, there's a state park. You can put that in Weeki Wachee State Park. And then this one's kind of easy because it's in a good location. But, let's say this parcel was kind of out in the middle of nowhere. You would just go to your closest, your closest big town. I mean, Tampa. Tampa's a big one, right? So we could also just go, northern, Tampa, Florida. Let's see what it says. Okay. So we can just click on the map here. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. I wouldn't spend more than 5 minutes on this. Looks like there's some parks and recreation, garden center, right? There's a country club, which is golf. And then obviously, you can see there's water here, so there's obviously beaches all up and down here, right? So you could do beaches, and there's tons of stuff to do down here. So I don't need a whole lot. Let's see, we watch State Park. Beaches and Tampa metro area. Area. Nah, that's good enough. Highlights. I don't know. You can put anything you want in there as far as what stands out to you with the property. So you could just say, great location. Sure. Is this property in an HOA? So this is a tough one. So there's many ways to search for this. I don't know all of them. I don't know what the best one is. If you have experience in this, that's fine. That's great. I know one way of doing it is actually searching the county clerk of courts, so the county actual records, but it's not always in there. Obviously, what I do usually is I'll go to Google and I'll just do a couple of searches like this. Weeki Wachee Florida HOAs. Okay. HOA is Homeowners Association, also known as POA, Property Owners Association. So I know this property is not in one, but let's just click on the map and see the general area. So, our property is kind of up in this area just because I know. Doesn't look like doesn't really look like anything here. I think. Let me see here. Sometimes you have to do a little clickety back and forth. So there's 98 and 19. So let me see here. I might be off a little bit. Okay, there. Oh, here we go. We're right in here. See? So here's 98 and 19. All right, so our property is actually in here. So Weeki Wachee Florida HOAs, I don't see anything except maybe this one, Royal Highlands by Miranda Homes. If you want, you could put in, you know, hey, check for here. So you could put in, is this property in HOA? Whatever. Whoops. I guess it's got a drop down. Yes, no, NA. I apologize. In this case, since it's not since it doesn't look like there's anything, let me zoom in here a little bit. Sorry, sometimes this takes a little bit of extrapolation. So that's 476 that goes across and 19. There's 476. So our property is right. Our property is in here because there's 476 and 19. North Weeki Wachee Mobile Home. So if, I mean, I'm going to say no. A lot of times it'll sound something like the property description. So the property description of this property, right, is it's not on here, but it's Royal Highlands is in the property description. A lot of times it'll be Royal Highlands HOA, something like that. That's not in every case. That's just in most. But anyways, this property in HOA, you could put no. So here, this would be NA, and if there were HOA dues, I would expect you just to write in the phone number here, and I would just call them myself. There's no need for you to email or anything. I would just call them and try to contact them. Mineral rights, don't care. Deed restrictions, unless you get that email back from Planning and Zoning or Fancy Hands sends you some information about deed restrictions based on their phone calls. But just, you just put NA in there. Easements on the property, again, this is not going to be anything you're going to find out unless the county responds to you via the questionnaire template or Fancy Hands. So it's going to be NA. So overall comments here, summarizing information, blah, 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 right? So the only, the things in here that maybe you're unsure about, like, please verify no HOA, unsure about electricity and water access, just whatever you're kind of unsure about. If everything looks good, you can put in there, it looks great. So this is open to you. And of course, you can always communicate with me, via email or whatever as well. So, and then the last part here is title information, which I think is a lot more, it's going to be a lot easier for you because it's pretty cut and dry, but that'll be in the next video.